Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from REAL Math Tutoring. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely day. And as always, we are here to break down some of those concepts, especially the mathematical reasoning that we see mostly on the GED, the ASVAT, Accuplacer, TEAS test, HESI test, any kind of high school equivalency test, nursing test, anything from A to Z that requires you to do some algebra. This is the live for you. So we're going to continue on, which again, this is going to be a mad dash type of live. We'll probably have like a good 35 minutes. So this is what we're doing. I read off a question, you answer it, you put it in the chat, and then I just show you how to do it and maybe even show you a couple tricks and tips to get that answer a lot quicker. All right, so we are continuing on. In a certain state, the legislature had 100 seats. In 2010, Party X held 54 seats. In 2012 election, the party gained 2 seats. If in 2014's election, Party X loses 6 seats but gains 2 seats in 2016 election, what will be the absolute change in the number of seats held by Party X from 2010 to 2016B? All right, so all you have to do is just sit, take a think. Okay, Winnie the Pooh, think. And then try to put your answer in the chat. If you're just like, I have no idea, just put a question mark. Okay, that kind of tells me, all right, how much details, how much breakdown do I really need to do? All right, so here we go. It's all based on the same party. It's things that's happening from 2010 to 2016. My man squared is saying my head hurts reading that. Hey, that's what happens. Welcome to standardized testing. Welcome. All right, couple people with a question mark. JM saying 2. All right, let's see. I'm going to give you a little bit of time before I say my 2 cents. Unpredictable life. Thank you for coming on in. Appreciate you. Okay. Is that Renisha? Thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciate that. Okay. Hey, Snapple Apple, how are you doing? You think it's 2? Okay. All right. Let's give a little more time just for those, just to kind of get their thoughts together. All right. Maria saying it's 2 with sheer confidence. I love it. Huge heart. All right. Let's see if I can get one more person, regardless if it's a question mark or if it's an answer that you think it is. Let's put that right in the chat and then I can get on going. All right, so my NN is saying 2. My other person is saying -2. All right, the actual change is by 2. All right, Robert's saying 2. Okay, Jenny. Hey, Jenny, saying -2. All right, let's take a look. Okay, let me do a little bit of writing on here to give myself some space. So we are talking about, all right, we're dealing with in 2010, they originally had 54 seats. So it's not talking about the whole legislation of 100 seats. We are focusing, starting off with the 54 seats. So then we're going to do the whole process. Let me switch up right here. Okay. So in 2012, okay, we gained 2 seats. 2014, we lost 6 seats, but in 2016, we got those 2 seats. So we're basically starting off with our 54, okay? When we gain 2 seats, we're going to add 2 seats to that, so that gives us our 56. Then they tell us that we lost 6 seats. So if we lost 6 seats, that gives us our 50. Then we gained 2 seats. So that gives us back to 52. But then this is what they want. What is the absolute change? So we started with 54. We got to 2016, we have 52. So the difference of the 54 and the 52, now if you did 52 minus 54, and you got a -2, that's fine. But here's the key thing, the word absolute. So if we're looking at the absolute value of that -2, remember, absolute values are always going to be positive. It's basically the distance away from 0. So the absolute value of -2 is going to be 2. If you just simply did 54 minus the 52 to give us how much of a difference of 2, you can do it that way as well. So your answer for this, my lovely, is going to be 2. Okay. Yep. All right. Not a problem. See? It wasn't too crazy. A little cray, but not too crazy. All right, so here's the next one, but this time we're giving you a little bit of choice. So we want to know, what is the surface area of the cylinder below? All right, so they are giving us our radius, which is 2, whatever the units are, and they're also giving us the height, which is 5, whatever units they are. So we're trying to find the surface area, not the volume. So is it A, 20 pi? Is it B, 28 pi? C, 32 pi? Or D, 50 pi? Okay. Cylinders. It's okay, Snapple. It's okay. Because regardless what you do, GED, if you see any things with surface area or volume, those are going to be 4-point questions if you guys are doing the GED. If you're in ASVAT, if you're starting to see surface area and volumes, and they always use cylinders or rectangular prisms, that means you're doing really good. Okay, you are way past that 31 cutoff. Okay, you're actually like in the high 50s, early 60s. So kudos. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you at. Because remember, the ASVAT is more of a progressive test. All right, so let's take a look to see what people are saying. All right, let's go. Sorry, I got to scroll back up to the very top, I think. Maybe. Okay. So we have Fiend with A. Big Al, how are you? Is saying A. Okay, is that Dior? Okay. You're not trying to do this? Well, you didn't have to stop. But yet, it was my voice that dragged you in. That's how everybody else got here. Z is saying A. Okay, Lobes, how are you? Is saying A. Jenny saying B. We have another B. Hello, Michael. Michael, I did try to message Robert. I'm going to see what happened to him. So I'll wait for his response back. Is saying B's. We have RS is saying A. Scarlett is saying A. All right. Sola was saying A. Not sure. I got you, Snapple. Not a problem. Sherry got an A. You sound like a teacher. 'Cause I'm crazy like one. I used to be one of those crazy classroom teachers. All right. So let's take a gander. All right. So first off, anytime they saying area, okay? So we are looking at this, basically, we're looking at the area of my bases, which I have 2 of them. It's kind of hard for us to see, so I'm going to try to continue it on. So we have 2 bases here, okay? And both of my bases are circles. Then, since we're doing the surface, it's just like a can. No, a soda can, have you ever like take the very top of the soda can out and you stretch it out? Or is it just me being psychotic? Probably just me being psychotic. But if I stretch it out, it all of a sudden it becomes like a straight, like a flat film. So we need to incorporate that. So the best way to do this is by using our formula. So to represent the wrapping of the can, we're going to be looking at the circumference, which is 2 pi r, but then they're also incorporating the height. So that's going to represent our wrapping of our can. But we need to incorporate the area of our two bases, of our top and bottom. So this is a circle. The area of the circle is pi r squared. And since there's two of them, we're going to multiply that bad boy by 2. Okay? So this is basically the surface area, the formula for surface area of a cylinder. We take the wrapping around, which is looking at circumference, and circumference when you're dealing with radius is 2 pi r, and then we have to incorporate its height. That's what the h is. Then we have to add what the area of the bases are, and the bases are circles. So in order for us to do the area, we have pi r squared. And since there's 2 of them, we're going to multiply that area by 2. So let's plug in. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So let's plug in what our information is. I'm going to put this paper right here just in case I need more room. All right, so we're saying that 2 times our pi times our radius, which is 2, times the height, which is 5. Okay, we're going to add our pi, which I'm going to do it like this, times our radius, which is 2. And then we got 2 pi r squared. And since there are 2 of those, I'm going to multiply that by 2. Okay, so now let's work on each section at a time. So let me work over here. Now, before I go any further, if you notice your answer still has the pi associated with it. So I don't have to substitute 3.14 for my pi. So when we got this, we have 2 times 2, which gives me 4. And then 4 times 5, that gives me 20. So here we have 20 pi. Now, over on the right-hand side, we're going to have 2 squared. Now, 2 squared is 2 times 2, which gives me 4. And now I'm going to multiply the answer of 4 that we got here with this 2. And 4 times 2 gives me 8. And we're keeping its pi. So now we basically got like terms. So when we have 20 plus 8, that gives me 28. And it's not going to be pi squared because we're not multiplying, we're adding. So we're just keeping pi as is. So our answer is going to be 28 pi, which is answer B. Okay, so let me unshrink just a little bit because I know some people like to take pictures of stuff, or I might just do it this way. Okay. Well, happy Monday to you, Bongo. All right. Thank you for the sharing of the live and also the follows. I appreciate it. Okay, Cowboys. All right. So, if anything, when you were in school, same thing. Same here. All right. So, let's continue on. So now, again, my GED people, let me make this a lot larger. This is another 4-point question. And I know you're probably saying, why does she keep saying 4-point questions? Because for GED, your questions are labeled as 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, or 4-point questions. If you skip any of these 4-point questions, you are not going to pass the GED, and I want you to pass, right? So you can go and move on with your life. So anything dealing with factoring, dealing with equation of the line, slope, parallel and perpendicular, system of equations, regardless if you're doing graphing, substitution, elimination, they are all considered 4-point questions. Even the question that we just did with the surface area or volume, those are 4-point questions. So you need at least 3 of those bad boys just to get that minimum score and do very well with the basics. So now, here we go. we have 2x squared minus 6x minus 36, all divided by 2x minus 12. So they want you to do the division of these two polynomials. So we want to know, is our answer A, x minus 6, B, x minus 3, C, x plus 3, or D, x squared plus 3x plus 18? All right. Pig is saying B. Thank you for the follow. Michael is saying C. Okay. And again, if you're looking at it, you're like, girl, I don't know this. Well, then, girl or boy, put the question mark into the comments. Okay. Because then that will kind of tell me where to go. All right. So we have Ahad is saying F, not sure. Okay. Wolfpack is saying B, user D, Lobes D. Hey, Caribbean Queen, how are you? Black is not sure. Thank you. You were a little lost. Not a problem. I'm loving all these question marks. Thank you for basically trusting me with that. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So here we go. This is one of the reasons why knowing your multiplication tables and your perfect squares is going to help you tremendously. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to do what's called factoring. So I'm going to cover up the denominator so I can just work on my numerator. All right. Thank you for checking in, Chino. Okay. You're currently working on this. All right. Let's do it. So anytime they give you something with an exponent of 2, that means I'm going to break this down by factoring. When I factored, the very first question I should ask myself is, do I have a GCF? Do I have something in common? We have 2, we have 6, we have 36. So they all have at least a 2 in common. So if I factor out that 2, what remains is by me dividing. So if I take 2x squared divided by 2, I'm going to get x squared. If I take my negative 6x and divide by 2, a negative divided by a positive gives me a negative, and 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. So now I have my negative 36 and a positive 2. So again, this is going to be negative. So how many 2's can go into 3? 1, which gives me a remainder of 1. How many 2's can go into 16? That will give me 8. So inside this parenthesis, again, I still have a high exponent of 2. So I'm going to see if I can break this down. This is when it gets crucial. So I need to figure out what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 18, and those same two numbers added together to give me a negative 3. All right, what do we got? Jason, you're doing good. Yeah. We're going to break it on down. So what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 18 and add together to give me a negative 3? Okay, so I got negative 6 and 3, negative 6 and 3. Thank you, user 99. So we got a negative 6, negative 3, close, 6 and 3. Okay, so we all agree with the 6 and 3's, which is great. But we got to get those signs together. So here's my x. I'm going to split my x. 1 there and 1 there. You don't want to split my x. You don't want to have more of them. Okay? But I agree with the 6 and I agree with the 3. But right now, we're looking at two positive numbers. One of them has to be negative. If I make the 6 negative, negative 6 plus 3 will give me a negative 3. And that's what we're looking for. So I'm making the 6 negative and I made the 3 positive. Let me lower that down so you can actually see. Okay. So now, this numerator is factored. So I'm going to put it over here. So I got my 2 I have x minus 6 and x plus 3. All right, so the numerator is factored. Now, I'm going to move my paper, and I'm going to look at the denominator now. I kind of like to cover things up because you won't have so much distractions. Just focus on. So I have 2x minus 12. Well, 2x minus 12, do I have a GCF? Okay. Yep. Okay, it's not going to be 6, but yes, there we go. Okay, my double V's, we got that. My blank space, we got that. Good, Big Al, yes. 2, yes. Read, good, Michael, yes. Unpredicted, yes. Cherry, yes. For your eyes only, yes, yes, yes. Doctor, hello, how are you? Jonathan, yes. Good. Who is that? Is that Kayla? Kaylee? I don't know what the letter in the middle. I think it's an L, but I think it might be a C, so I'm not sure. All right, good. So when we factor out the 2, we're going to divide. So 2x divided by 2 gives me x. Negative 12 divided by 2 gives me a negative 6. So now I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to focus on what we just did. Since it is division, what we can do is cancel some lovely things out, because 2 divided by 2, that gives me 1. X minus 6 and x minus 6, that gives me 1. And we all know that 1 times x plus 3, anything times 1 is going to be itself. So that means my answer has to be this x plus 3. Because there ain't nothing left, right? So then here we go. It has to be C. Okay? It has to be C. There you go. Right? Because right now we don't know what x equals. So we don't know. It can't be, right now, we don't know what x equals. Notice they had the unsimplified version up, because isn't that what we got up here? But always check. Anytime they want to do any kind of division, always check to see if it can be simplified, if it can be broken down. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Right, because you are going to have an asymptote. Yes, you are. All right, so continuing on. All right, again, time restraint. So customers of Paul's Beauty Supply can make purchases online from a catalog or in the store. Okay, why are you doing it online if you're in the store? But anyway, all right, so we have our chart representing Paul's Beauty Supplies. This is all happening in the month of March. We have our online sales, we have our catalog sales, and we have our in-store sales. So it asks, let me scroll this up because nothing up top is giving us any kind of information. It asks about how much more did the company make the catalog sales than from online sales in March? So is it A, 35,000, B, 65,000, C, 130,000, or D, 195,000? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat. Okay. All right, so I'm seeing some B's. We got Chino with an A. We got Garrett with an A. Charlotte with the B's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome back. It's saying my B. Get my Michael's B. Okay, Lobes with A. Okay, we got B's. We got B's. We got B's. Oh, we're buzzing away. Okay, Vladimir. A. Saying A. Saying B's. Okay, we got some B's. We got, my bad. Not a problem. All right, so we got B's, 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 B's. All right, so when they're saying how much more, that means it's a difference. So we are doing the comparison of the catalog sales from the online sales, okay? So if we take a look, the catalog sales is about roughly like 130,000, we can say about that. Then the online sales, might be about like 65. Why not? So if I'm taking the difference of that because I want to know how much more, we can just roughly take the difference of it. We know it's not going to be C. We know it's not going to be D. It's not that much of a difference. Borrow from the 13 to make that into a 12. Make that 10, that 0 into a 10. So then we have 65. Ooh, the handwriting is terrible. Okay. Like I'm nervous about life. What's going on? So if you picked B, you did awesome. Oh, you love the pens? Hey, not a problem. Sharpie, okay? No sponsorship whatsoever. It's like everybody wants sponsorship for everything. All right. Okay, let's get with the next one. All right, so this will be our last page because I don't know why. Lately, I just feel like I'm always running out of time. You ever just life? Like enough already. All right, so for 25, which of the following is a graph of the inequality? -2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. Is it A, B, C, or D? Do you? Oh, I know. I love these pens. Hello, Amanda. Oh, thank you. You know, try to keep it in a nice, cool atmosphere. Trying to get away from this whole thing called math phobia. You can definitely do math. All right, so I got a couple A's. I have a few D's. Okay, some D's and A's. All right, so we got to fight to the death here. Okay, so A's and D's, A's and D's. So I guess we're all in agreement that B and C is completely out. Now, let's take a look. First off, taking a look at our inequalities. When you have the line underneath your inequality, that means equal to. I love when people say, oh, it's less than, greater than. No. This means less than or equal to. So if it's equal to, it's including that point that's in front, which is my -2. So if you look at B, it's an open circle, so it's not including -2. That's why B is gone. All right. Now, same thing if I take a look at my 4. My 4 is just less than, so it's not including the 4. So right away, if it's not including the 4, it should be an open circle. So that's why C is gone, because it's including the 4. Boom, that's done. But now we got to figure out how to read it. So if I take a look, if I just cover this part and I take a look here, I'm saying that X is going to be less than 4. Okay, so X is going to be less than 4. So I want to know all the numbers that are going to be lower than 4. This one is talking about all the numbers that are higher than 4. This one is talking about the numbers that are lower than 4. Notice how it's shaded right here. So right now, D is going to be my answer. And if you're wondering, well, how do I read it the other way? This is saying -2 is less than or equal to X. So that means your unknowns have to be larger than -2. This one is showing that the numbers is smaller than -2. No. It's actually going to be greater than. So D is your option. Okay? This is what's called a compound inequality. All right? This will be a 3-point question, guys. 3-point question. Do not skip it. Okay. All right. Can you switch your answer now? Of course you can. You can do whatever you want. All right, so for 26, at what point does the line with the equation y equals 2x plus 3 intersect with the line with the equation y equals negative 1 half x minus 7? So is it A, negative 4, negative 5? Is it B, 0, negative 7? C, 0, 3? Or D, 2, 7? So at what point does the line with the equation y equals 2x plus 3 intersect, hint, with the line with the equation y equals negative 1 half x minus 7? Do not let the fraction freak you out, okay? Don't let it do it. No mama, no papa, don't do it. All right, so we have a couple of D's. Yep, the choice has to satisfy both equations. There you go, snap, snaps. All right, so Steve is telling me C. Okay, Diana is saying D. Let me see if some other people. It brings back nightmares. But I wasn't your teacher then. We would have had fun with this, trust me. Okay, Ming is saying C. What grade is this for? This is like GED, so it's a high school equivalency. Has a little bit of algebra, has a little bit of geometry, a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll. So we have all of those. Hello, Rosette. How are you? Miles is saying D. Michael is saying A. You have no idea? That's okay, because guess what? I'm not going to end the live until I finish this, right? I got a little time. I can do this. Your worst ever? No. No. Okay, so we got A, 8 years out of high school, don't remember any of this, and that's fine. All right, so it's like that, it's that. Yep, and it's all different now. Okay, so let's take a look. We can handle this one of two ways. We can either do it algebraically, or you can start plugging in or substituting. Now remember, when you're substituting, let me put it over here. When you're substituting in a point, it's always your x, then your y. Think of the alphabet, X, Y, Z. Okay, so the x comes before the y. So if you wanted to, you could plug in, let's just try it. I can do my y equals 2 times negative 4 plus 3. Okay, to see if this will give me an answer of negative 5. I'm going to put a little question mark here. And then the other one, if I went with the other equation, it will give me y equals negative 1 half. My x was negative 4 minus 7. And again, we want to see if that will give me a negative 5. So let's do what's in green. Let's see what we can get. So I know that 2 times negative 4, when the signs are opposite and I'm multiplying, I'm going to get a negative answer. 2 times 4, that gives me 8. Okay, 8 plus 3. Now I'm basically adding, but this sign's negative, this sign's positive. Sometimes people get so caught up with the operation. Let the operation be the sign of your number. I think that will help you out a lot when it comes to adding and subtracting. When the signs are different, you're really subtracting and you're keeping the sign of the larger number. Think about it. If you owe me $8 and you paid me $3, people, you still owe me $5. Give me my money. All right. But this is the negative 5 that we are expecting to see. So far that works. Double check that it works on the other side. So half of 4 is 2. And the reason why it's a positive 2 is because a negative times a negative gives me positive. See that minus 7 comes on down. So now think about it. You owe me $7. You owe me a lot of money. Pay up. Okay, you owe me $7. You paid 2. That means you still owe me $5. And guess what? That's the negative 5 we were looking for. So if it works for both of them, which it does, that means A has to be my answer. Okay? So if you're still kind of iffy about, okay, all I did was I just picked the first one. Sometimes I just pick whatever I can at random. Plug it in and see which one will give you the same answer. So that's one way of doing it. Okay? Another way will be to make both of your equations equal to each other. They both equal y. Okay? So that why, wrong pen. So that's why you can do 2x plus 3 equals negative 1/2 x minus 7. So if you want, you could add 1/2. And you're like, oh, Audrey fractions. It's like, it's okay. It's gonna be all right. So if I'm adding the x on this side, that means this positive 3 needs to go to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. All right. So now, negative 7 minus 3, that gives me a negative 10. When the signs are the same, you add them and keep the sign. So now, you're probably saying, well, Audrey, we got a whole number of 2 and 1/2. You can either say this is 2.5, if you're really good with your decimals when you're going to divide, because that's going to happen. Or we can change that whole number of 2 to have a denominator of 2. And I know that 4 divided by 2 will give me my whole number of 2. So if I add these two fractions together, y'all, I'm going to get 5/2. So the best way for me to get rid of my fraction, I can multiply both sides by 2. Negative 20. Then I will have my x value. And what I just did was found my negative 4. Notice my x is negative 4. What's my x values? Whoops. For my points. This is the only one that gives me a negative 4. That's why A is going to be my answer. I can stop right there. Okay. So you got a choice. I like to give you guys options. You can either plug and chug. Hey, if that works for you, do it. But if you want to do it algebraically, you're like, you know what? Let me test my algebra skills. That's fine. Do whichever is fastest. Because remember, this is going to go against time. All right. And speaking of time, let's go to 27. And 27 is going to be our last one. Segue. All right. So here we go. A pole is supported by a cable as shown. The cable is attached to the ground 9 feet from the base of the pole, and it is attached to the pole 12 feet above the ground. Okay. This cable, just in case you may see it on the SATs, this is what a guy wire is. They always use it in standardized tests, and people are like, what the hell is a guy wire? Now you know, okay? It's that pole that helps to it's a cable that helps to stationary poles or trees. That's what it's called, a guy wire. So now they want to know which of the following expressions can be used to find the length of this cable. So they're saying, I'm going to put it right here because we don't need anything else. Whoops, sorry. So it's either going to be A, 9 squared plus 12 squared, B, 12 squared minus 9 squared, C, the square root of 9 squared plus 12 squared, or D, the square root of 12 squared minus 9 squared. What do you think? So I got some A's, got a couple of C's, got a D, okay? Vlad is saying A, Faithfully is saying C, Big Al saying C, Chino is saying D, Lynn C, Rosette A, okay? Oh, Faithfully is saying Pythagorean's theorem, okay? Don't forget the N. Then Jenny saying C, Cody saying C. All right, got a few more. Oops, let me drop that down. So we got little battles between C's and we got some battles with A. Okay, so we got between C's and A. C and A, C and A, C and A. All right. Okay, so then, yep, is agreeing with the Pythagoreans. Okay. Okay, where do I get these problems from? Online. I just literally online. All right. So if we notice, okay, Pythagoras theorem is basically used for 90-degree angles. So that means the cable, that's going to be your hypotenuse. Okay, and our hypotenuse is generally the C. When it comes to Pythagorean's theorem, which is your A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, now, so we're trying to figure this out. So basically, here's a quick hint. If we're trying to find C, the opposite of a squared is a square root. Right? Now, notice it's still an addition. So these two things, the 9 and the 12, they're called your legs. And the legs are interchangeable. It doesn't matter which one comes first. But what it does matter, you are doing addition and it's underneath the square root, so we can figure out what C is. So your answer is going to be C. Okay? It is going to be C. All right. Okay. So, hopefully you had some fun with this. As I do. All right. So, we're going to stop here because I got to get going. If anything, give me some moments. Let me shrink this bad boy down. If you ever want to, because I don't know when people came in, if you want to get the replay of what I did today, give me some time because I am going to be busy for the next close to 5 hours. And if anything, I'm going to try to upload what we did. You just go here and you type up here. And if you can do these 5 things, even if you can just do this, that'll be awesome. That will help me out tremendously. And you will see a playlist that says TikTok Lives. I know, the name is really deep. So you will see all of my lives since February the 2nd, all the way up to yesterday. I know, I can't believe it's almost been a year. So you can watch a lot of the videos that I've done with this, but also I have some videos that I did individual instruction, like I just did all on factoring. Remember the factoring that we did? I did some on factoring. I did on the Pythagorean theorem. I did on graphing a system of equations, graphing with slope, or using slope algebraically, graphically, numerically. So I did actual individual lessons. So if you want to go there, you can go there. All right. But I will have to skedaddle. But if you have any questions, I do offer tutoring. And right now, everyone is really taking advantage of this, including I'm going to be tutoring on Thanksgiving Day. But if you do need a tutor, I do private tutors. I normally charge $92 an hour. Yes, that's what I said. But for my TikTok people, I charge $77. Okay. So if you need some assistance, you're taking college algebra, because that course is coming to an end soon. If you're taking your ASVAT, your Accuplacer, any of those, and you just need some assistance, or maybe you have a child that's struggling with Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or geometry, or even college algebra, go ahead and just send your information to me. All you have to do is just send me a DM. Okay. If you want to try the Service Plus, you can try the Service Plus as well. All right. Okay, so if you have questions about that, please send me a message. Don't leave it in here, but send me a message with your question about the ASVAT, the Accuplacer. I'm more than willing to help you break down how they do the scoring of it and how they do all the breakdowns. And I do pre-calculus. Yes, I do. All right. Okay, everyone, have an amazing day, and I will possibly see you guys tomorrow. All right, take care. Stay out of trouble. I don't have bail money.